And we are back, and we just finished watching 2021's You Are Not My Mother. There's not a rating here on IMDb, but this film clocks in at 1 hour and 33 minutes, and we caught it on Hulu. This was really, really good.
Yeah, this was a nice one.
Yeah, from writer-director Kate Dolan. This is the story of Char, played by Hazel Doupe. I don't want to give too much away because it's not from too far back. So, and I feel like this is a film that you should go into blind.
Yeah.
I'd heard about this film and it was on my watch list. We finally got it in and it did not disappoint at all. I was a pretzel the whole, like most of it. The opening sequence is beyond disturbing.
Yeah.
And
like you may even like not want to watch anymore.
I didn't. I'm glad that we pulled through because I think that it was a great experience as far as storytelling. And it really ratcheted. I mean, it used all the little devices. It had like that weird ambient music and then just weird sounds. And
it was very like dimly lit, but
yes.
atmospheric.
Yes, throughout.
And, like there was just a sense of like dread over everything.
Throughout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's dark and you really just don't know what the hell's going on. And I don't know about you, but as a parent and also as a person who was a child, right? Okay, so the first thing is Char's viewpoint, right? Here is this girl who obviously comes from a broken home. Yeah. And there's no father figure. She lives with her gran and her mom. And her uncle occasionally
pops
butts
in and out,
yeah. But for the most part, it's these three women in this little house. And I don't know what happened in the beginning. But we come back to the story many years later, and Char is getting bullied at school. Mm-hmm. And she has a mother who obviously suffers from depression.
Yeah, could barely get out of bed.
And then she goes missing. Mm-hmm. And when she comes back, Char really wants this to work. You see the moments where there's this levity where she's like dancing in the kitchen with her mom, where she like really wants to believe that they've turned a corner.
Yeah, that maybe the medications were, because when they come back, they take her to the hospital, they check her out. She ends up getting a whole bunch of prescriptions. Right. So you're wondering, hey, maybe these things are working.
Right.
Who knows? Because she seems more uplifted. She's cooking dinner.
She's more animated. She's loving towards the daughter. She's
loving
like,
towards the daughter.
We should take a trip.
The grandmother is having none
convinced.
of it. She knows something is wrong.
Yeah.
And this really, just the way everything was done, it kept ratcheting things up.
Yeah.
And you really feel for Char.
Yeah, because she's the one caught in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
And as a child, she desperately wants her mother.
She wants her mother to be safe and healthy and normal.
Yeah, normal.
And she's basically not had that her entire life, to the point where she's kind of an outcast in her school, getting bullied. One of the bullies sort of stops.
Right. She sort of has empathy.
I guess she has empathy for her because she lost her mom at an early age.
Yeah.
I guess that sort of, gives her that sense of empathy and makes her not want to torment this girl anymore. But that other girl, good Lord.
She was a bitch. Holy Carrie?
I think Carrie or Kelly or something like that.
Let's look really quick.
And she had her like little toadies who also, you could see, weren't 100% bad, but they were following her lead.
Yeah. It was Kelly, played by Katie White. Excellent job. I wanted you to die.
I was really hoping the mom would just rip her apart.
Come and just like tear you in half.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I mean, throughout the film, it just the sense of dread and just, I felt sick to my stomach.
Yeah, they did an excellent job for
about it. Yeah. And I
mean,
think
clearly like a low budget movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like what? 2 sets in the entire, there's the school and the house and a couple of scenes outside.
Yeah.
And limited cast. Everybody did a great job. The grandmother was spot on. She looked like some sort of creepy old Irish lady who knew a lot about like folklore. She's like crafting those little
wooden twig balls,
charm balls or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, this will keep you safe.
Yeah.
She's got her eye on thing.
Yeah, that sequence where she like goes into the kitchen and oops.
Yeah,
that was great because you could tell. And then that following at the dinner where they're just like staring each other down.
Yeah, because they both know what's up.
Right. It's like, I know your bullshit, and the other one was like, I know that you know my bullshit kind of thing. It was really great. And like the brother / son is oblivious, Aaron, right? And the daughter is like, what is going on? Like she has no clue, right?
Right.
Yeah, this was really, 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 really well done. I'm thoroughly impressed, and I hope that Kate Dolan does more stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean,
or just another horror story, because she is a magnificent storyteller.
It's nice when you just find something out of the blue like this.
Yeah.
Especially now. I mean, we're in spooky season here, so you
right.
want to see good horror films. This is definitely a good horror movie.
Yeah.
It's not gratuitous. There's no gore or anything. There's some minor, I would say,
intense scenes,
but also like makeup effects maybe.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the film where you get to see something.
Yes, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah,
but nothing that's gonna like warp your mind or disturb you to the point.
But I think most of it is all psychological, right?
Yes.
Because it's like the things that you're imagining or what's around the corner,
or just you the main actress. Char, you feel for this girl and you don't want anything bad to happen to her. And she is clearly in a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
Because like that first night when she hears her mom go to the bathroom.
Oh my God. That scene put me under.
Yeah. It's like, what am I seeing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she's like laying in bed and the mother's standing over her going, "Are you awake? Are you awake?"
Yeah,
and
that was
like right behind her head. "Are you awake?" And then boom, they cut to the next scene, and it's really, really well done. Yeah. This was excellent directing.
Yeah, I'd like to see more.
You said this was like her first feature.
This was her first big feature. Yeah, she'd done like smaller projects, and I think she's done like short things, but this was her first big feature. She's done, I think, since then.
I mean, seriously, great timing.
TV series. Yeah,
great pacing.
Yeah, and just really excellent performances. Again, kind of like what you just said, sometimes it's not what's on the screen or on the page. It's just the things that you dream up in your head as being part of the story as you're watching this thing. And I also want to call attention to the fact that in this particular story, we start out with a mother who's mentally ill, who's gone through whatever trauma, who's still impacted by things to the point, like you said, that she's so depressed that she doesn't even want to get out of bed. In this particular instance, she gets up because Char missed the school bus and she needs a ride to school. Mm-hmm. But that whole exchange in the car was also very draining.
Yeah, and at the end, she's just like, "I can't do this anymore."
And you just don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah.
So I guess we would categorize this as the lore of the changeling, right? So
that, I mean,
if you watch the trailer,
without you, I mean, if you know your Irish folklore or anything like that, there is a lot that has to do with this particular legend. I mean, I've heard tons of stories about it because I like listening to creepy stuff, and this is stuff that's actually happened. There's historical records of people doing stuff because of this legend. That's resulted in people getting killed.
Sure.
If you're not familiar, basically a changeling is one day you're somebody that you know well or a child or something. You just sort of feel that they're not acting like they should or the way they normally do. And the belief is, okay, at some point during the night or at some point, a bunch of like some fairies came and replaced your baby or your wife or your loved one with a replacement, which is actually another fairy called a changeling that looks and sounds exactly like them. And your beloved one is now trapped in this fairy world. And the only way to get them back is get the changeling to admit it or reveal the changeling somehow. And the changeling will go away and you'll get your loved one back in return. And the way to do it, you have to set them on fire. And there's stories about, I remember one on the Lore podcast. I remember the Lore podcast, very, very good podcast, where a guy said, oh, my wife went out. She came back in the rain. She got sick. When she was all better, she wasn't the same woman. And the guy basically forced his wife into a fireplace and killed her. And everybody in the town they were like right alongside doing it because he's like, she's a changeling. She's a changeling. All he ended up doing was murdering his wife.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's babies, whatever. It was pretty much an excuse for people to be like, well, they're not acting right. They're probably a changeling. Generally in the olden days, superstition was the answer to stuff that you just didn't like.
Right. Or didn't understand.
Yeah. So apparently this guy's wife was kind of forceful and not typical subservient sort of wife that was desired back in those olden days. Mm-hmm. This is like way before any modern technology or any thoughts of women were anything other than basically cooks and things that pumped out babies.
Yeah.
And this lady apparently had too much of a mind of her own, and this guy didn't like it, so she's a changeling. Throw her in the fire.
Crazy.
And this movie borrows from that legend, that mythology.
I also, thank you for that. I also want to highlight, again, like the mental illness, because you could sort of correlate the two. Again, mental illness affects families, much like the lore of the changeling affected this particular family. You have a child caught in this place where it's hellish because it's like, is this my mother or is this not my mother? For her, at one point, she does turn to the mother and she's like, you're not my mother.
Yeah.
So to have to say that is probably super impactful, right? This child, I mean, she's a young woman, but she's still a child, right? She's not an adult. She's not a baby, but she's not an adult. And she just wants her mom to be okay and healthy and happy and to be all right. And again, we could make that dotted line towards how mental illness affects families. So I think it's clever of the director/writer to kind of take the lore and kind of reboot it in a way in modern speak. So, yeah. I mean, you could, if you were a non-believer, I guess you could say, oh, well, she had issues and she had to work through them and this, that, and the other thing. But on the other side, the side that believes in the things that go and bump in the night, you could also make the case, well, she got her mother back. Yeah. Maybe. Who knows? Right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I was really impressed. And it's funny because kind of like, again, to your point, this is not a huge budget film. This is not a film with an A-list cast. No. This is not a movie that I really knew anything about other than fairly recently when I was looking for scary movies.
Yeah.
And
this is like a good, creepy ghost story sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to, you're relying a lot on the viewer or the listener's imagination to fill in that creepiness.
Right.
They show you just enough.
Yeah.
It's really just excellently done.
Yeah, I agree. What would you give this on a scale of 1 to 10?
I give this an 8.
8. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I was super, super impressed with Hazel, the young actress that plays Char, the main lead. Just her face is just amazing. She
was excellent. She looked so sad.
Yes, and just defeated kind of air about her throughout the film.
Yeah.
And it was nice that when she got those wins in her column, when Suzanne reaches out to her in friendship, and you could see that was genuine. I think at first she was like very taken aback, right? She was very suspicious of Suzanne, but I think that the more she kind of got into her life, the more she let her guard down and started to trust Suzanne. And then Suzanne was a really good friend and came at a really pivotal time.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what was going to happen in that instance, and I'm glad that I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a lot of sequences in this film where it was like, what in the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when Suzanne gets invited for dinner and she's in that corner and all of a sudden you see something and it's like, what
Yeah, I'm still
appropriate response was to
just get the hell
out of there and just keep going and never stop
that's
walking.
another thing I appreciated about this movie is people were kind of
Acting
they were
correctly.
doing the proper reaction. It wasn't just sort of like, well, I'm terrified, but I'm gonna go in there.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just like, okay, something really scary happened. I'm out of here, and I'm not even going to say goodbye. It's just boom, gone.
Boom, gone. Yeah. Same thing with Char. There was instances of high tension, and she just runs into her room and she locks herself in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were both the correct responses.
Yeah.
I was sad that Kelly didn't get hers.
Yeah. That was an
awful thing to say.
It would just sort of satisfy that visceral, the justice must be served sort of thing, because she deserved it, man.
She really did. She was not a nice person.
Seriously, that girl was just a cunt.
Yes. Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. I was happy when she got cracked in the face initially.
Yeah.
But she kept at it.
Not enough.
Yeah, not enough. That's definitely a kid that deserved a beating or two to get her back in line. I'm pleasantly surprised and super excited that we finally got this to watch. So absolutely in spooky season. I think we're gonna post this one after Halloween, but I'm glad we still got this in. I love horror. Mm-hmm. We might have to extend it all the way into November because there aren't really a lot of Thanksgiving movies, are they?
Really? No.
Yeah, I think we extend spooky season till December.
The only sort of thing that celebrates Thanksgiving a lot is Bob's Burgers.
Yes, because that's Bob's favorite holiday.
There's
right?
always a Thanksgiving episode.
Always. Quirky turkey.
The quirky turkey.
That is my favorite.
Love it.
But I mean, we might have to extend spooky season into.
We're not shy from doing horror films during the rest of the year.
That's true. Yeah. But I usually sometimes I look at November and I'm like, maybe we do 80s nonsense.
We'll figure something out.
But definitely we'll post this at some point. And absolutely, if you have Hulu, definitely check out Kate Dolan's You Are Not My Mother from 2021, clocking in at 1 hour and 33 minutes. I would guess this is rated PG-13. There wasn't any. I mean, there might have been one curse word, I think.
Yeah, I would say PG-13. Just because of the intensity. I mean, it really is nerve-wracking, and there were points where I was sort of like really leaning forward, like that bit where she coughs up whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, we're still.
I was like, what is going on? And also, that beginning sequence with the baby, I was like really disturbed. I was like, I don't know if I can keep going.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a secret? I actually started watching that movie earlier today.
Oh, really?
I did. And then I stopped. But I have to tell you, I paused it after that beginning because I was like, what did I just watch? And then I went and I made myself a coffee because I was like, I need to step away from the TV because I woke up early and I started watching it. And then I was like, I think I'm going to save this for you and me to watch together because I don't think I can watch this by myself.
That was like
really, really disturbing.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I was like, just every muscle was just hyper tense. I was like, what am I seeing? My mouth was just hanging open, and it's just disturbing because you don't want to see a little baby
get hurt or anything.
Yeah. It's adorable baby,
a very cute baby,
adorable baby, and then you just hear it crying and screaming. Oh God,
yeah.
And that lady, the grandmother, Granny, just standing over it, looking at the flames.
Yeah, without remorse either.
I don't want to talk about. I don't want to think about that anymore.
If you are so inclined, if you liked horror movies, if you like good storytelling with like a little bit of a kick, because this will. My stomach was in knots the whole time. Mm-hmm. I think if you know about Irish folklore and are familiar with the story of the changelings and stuff, I think this is definitely a must watch. Absolutely. Yeah. Do yourself a favor. If you can stomach it, check out 2021's You Are Not My Mother from Kate Dolan. absolutely excellent work, Kate Dolan. I hope to see more of this from you. I love horror. And when it's really well done, it's always a treat. All right. And that's it from us. And we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.